Task 3.3. Select controls based upon system security requirements. This is a crucial skill for CISSP exam and for your future career in information security. And as we explore this task, remember that security concepts are interconnected, so you'll notice some familiarity from the other sections. This repetition is intentional and beneficial and reinforces these key security concepts that are essential for the exam. And if you find I didn't cover enough, remember to use the prompt at the end of the session to get a little deeper. All right, let's move on. All right, there's no subtasks in this section, so let's just focus on a few key principles. 1. Identify security requirements. We need to learn how to assess and determine the specific security needs of a system based on its operational environment and the data sensitivity. 2. Tailored controls. We need to explore how to choose and implement security controls that align with the identified requirements, ensuring that they are appropriate and effective for the specific system. 3. Compliance and standards. We need to discuss how to ensure selected controls meet industry standards and regulatory requirements such as ISO, NIST, and PCI DSS. And continuous evaluation. We emphasize the importance of regularly reviewing and adjusting controls to adapt to evolving threats, technological advancements, and changes in system requirements. Remember, the CISSP exam expects you to understand how these concepts are part of a holistic system, and we need to appreciate that as we progress through the slides, how these elements interconnect and reinforce each other. All right, when identifying security requirements, remember some key points. 1. Assess the need. We need to evaluate the specific requirements based on the system's operational environment and the data classification. This involves understanding the system's purpose, the types of data it handles, and the potential threats it faces. 2. Triple constraints. In the world of project management and security, we often talk about the constraints of scope, time, and cost, and we always prioritize scope. Effectiveness. Here's the mantra to remember for the exam. Never short scope. This means you should avoid reducing the scope in security measures. You can save time, you can save money, but never short scope. We try not to go out of scope too far, and that's the measure of efficiency. And that's our 4th bullet. We never short scope, but we aim to be efficient. We don't want to go too far out of scope. So barely go out of scope, right? That's the point. It means that all requirements are set with the least amount of scope creep or waste or scrap. Remember, the CISSP exam isn't just about testing your knowledge of these concepts in isolation. It's assessing your ability to apply them in real-world scenarios. So as you study, always think about how these principles interconnect and how they apply to various security situations. Tailored controls. When we buy our controls, we need to adjust them to fit our needs. It's kind of like buying a suit. It's got to be measured out to fit me. So one specific to the system needs. For the exam, understand that controls must be customized to the system's unique environment, data sensitivity, and risk profile. This ensures that they effectively address the identified threats. The exam may present scenarios where you need to choose the most appropriate controls for a given system. 2. Alignment with best practices. The exam will expect you to know widely recognized industry standards and guidelines from NIST, ISO, and of course the payment card industry. Ensure that the controls you select align with these standards, guaranteeing they are comprehensive and up to date. 3. Balance between confidentiality, integrity, and availability. When tailoring controls, you have to strike the right balance to meet the system's needs based on the security classifications of the data and systems that it's on. 4. Regular assessment and updates. Remember, on the exam, security is not a set it and forget it. You need to understand the importance of periodically assessing the effectiveness of the implemented controls and making adjustments to respond to how new vulnerabilities, emerging threats, or changes in the system change operations. As you prepare for the exam, think about how these principles would apply in real-world scenarios. How would you implement the tailored controls in a complex IT environment? How do they interact with other security principles we've discussed? Wrapping up 3.3. Select controls based on system security requirements. Let's review. 1. Tailored security controls. The exam will test your understanding of how to select and implement security controls based on a system's specific requirements. 2. Triple constraint consideration. For the exam, keep in mind the balance of scope, time, and cost, and we always have to meet the scope. We never short scope, and we try not to go too far out of scope. That's the measurement of our efficiency, or how much scrap that we wasted. And 3, continuous review and adaptation. The exam will emphasize that security is not a static concept. You have to understand that controls are not set it and forget it. They require continuous assessment to see if they're still applicable. And let's test our knowledge. Come on, get in there. I hope to hear from people that you love this. I have not found anything better, nothing more up to date than the LLMs. Of course, they stray off. I hope by now you've learned to periodically remind them, hey, this is supposed to be a CISSP exam or something like that. See you next time.